Welcome to episode 3 of the RCR Show, and plans have changed. We have just 2 people in this show because we recorded this show 2 nights ago and it was supposed to air today, Sunday, February 2nd. But the biggest bomb in NBA history just dropped last night. Luka Doncic has got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Not only is it crazy to say Luka Doncic has been traded, but to the Los Angeles Lakers to play with the greatest player of all time, LeBron James, is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. Luka, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris go to the Lakers with Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick, a valuable first-round pick, but a first-round pick, back to the Mavericks. We are going to open this show just discussing that trade as a whole, because when we originally did this show, we talked about the trade deadline, and Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic were not mentioned at all. The actually only thing that was mentioned relevant to those two is how the Lakers were going to add a big next to Anthony Davis. But we're scrapping that. We're still going to have our long form coming after the NBA talk. We'll have our guest, the team, and we'll close with our personal talk, which we'll keep from the night before. So if you want to get Cody, if you're here just for Cody, well, you can watch the long form. You can get to that. But how can we not talk about this? West, it dropped at what, like 12:30 last night Eastern time, and I texted you and I said, "Are you up?" And I was like, "I think Shams is hacked." Just what were your emotions when you found out that the trade was real? What were your emotions from the initial get-go, actually?
I kept thinking it was fake. I'll say that. I thought it was fake. I thought Shams got hacked, but then again in my head I'm like, Woj never got hacked. Like, this would be the first for something. I guess
and the thing is, people have gotten hacked before, but it normally is like they get hacked and then it's like they say something crazy. Like, you've never seen a hacking, and I guess you still haven't seen a hacking.
Like, that's crazy.
I thought that was like, it was so crazy, but it like in the slightest was like it could be real. That like, now that I think about it, if I were ever to somehow be able to hack a major sports page, I'd post something like that. And that's why we thought it was hacked.
Well, then Shams retweets his original tweet saying like, "No guys, this trade is real," which in my head I'm like, sus. That is a bot comment.
So sus.
I still thought it was fake. Then, while people still trying to figure out if it's fake or not, I have the Blazers game on, and our announcers are talking about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the Blazers announcers are talking about this live, and it's a hoax. And then Chris Haynes confirms it. Then like Mark Stein jumps in, KOC jumps in, like, and it's real. And I was at a loss for words last night. I slept on it. I'm still at a loss for words. Cole, just imagine as a Blazer fan, and this is the only thing we'll talk about the Blazers. Imagine 2018, you get blindsided. Damian Lillard's been traded. Blindsided. Like, that's what this is. Like, Luka's a consensus top 3 player, which we put him at 4 in our things, but in our top 10, but he's a consensus top 4 player. Anthony Davis is 31, going to be 32 next month. Luka is 25, about to be 26. You had him under contract. Supermax, we'll talk about contract stuff, but they were like, we think you're fat and you're not committed to being slimmer. We don't care you just took us to the finals. We don't care that, you're a 6'8", one of the best playmaking guards of all freaking time. We're going to trade you for Anthony Davis, who has the biggest injury list I've ever seen, not named Joel Embiid. He's been healthy recently, but I don't understand. And the crazy thing is the GM was like, we think defense wins championships, and just slapping Luka in the face. Like, I know we'll talk about like the fit, like the basketball stuff, like probably in a little bit, but like Luka is about to, if I was him, I'd go scorched earth. Like, I'd be so pissed off.
I think Luka's mad. The reason I once again thought it was a hack is because I was just listening to another podcast that was talking about Mark Cuban. I think it was like Russillo, and he was like, yeah, Mark Cuban went out and tweeted like, why is Luka and Kai not in the All-Star game? And he was kind of like going in on him because like obviously Luka probably shouldn't be in the All-Star game because he's been hurt this year for a majority of it. But that was a day ago. And I know Mark Cuban isn't as associated with the Mavericks now. He's like a partial owner. But I think he had like, there's no way he was blindsided that much in the sense too. Like, it makes no sense because if you're gonna trade Luka,
you shop him.
You shop him, and you see the best offer. I think this is an example. I think this is an example of this GM, whatever his name is. I don't know. He says defense wins championship. He must be so out on Luka. I remember there was a video when they made the finals. He didn't dap up Luka. in the locker room. That was a video that was making the rounds again. Like, he has this
Took a
vendetta against
beer or
Luka.
whatever
Like,
out of his
Luka must
hand.
have did something to his family or something like that. And he, while also that, even if that was the case, you don't trade Luka, he must have the biggest infatuation with Anthony Davis of all time. He must
Okay,
really think that they can win a championship this year with this core, which, like,
so
a crazy way we could go here is talk about how, like, you look at the Mavs roster now and it's like it's a sneaky good fit, but like, you traded Luka, so
right, sure. It's just like he went to the finals with him last year, like, and if you're like Luka we're worried about his defense, his conditioning, his off the court commitment to the franchise, like, you got the pieces to build around a negative defender. You went to the finals last year. And quick point, I was watching Chris Haynes last night or reading. Apparently the Dallas GM was Anthony Davis's like original Nike rep or something. So they go way back. So they're like really tight.
that's weird. That's sus.
It is sus, but it's just like the Lakers getting Luka sets them up for the future. Now LeBron isn't. We'll talk about LeBron here in a second, but what I want to say is, like, your point. Why are you not making this more public and shopping him? It's either you're incompetent and you're just like, we want to
trading Luka,
but like they must love Anthony Davis that much. Like, do you know what? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like you could have gotten like freaking. You could have called Philly and they probably would have given you everything. Like, you could have called. I don't know. I mean, the Spurs aren't going to give up Wemby.
Yeah,
but
it's not only like the idea of Luka and him being so good, but it's also like everything that Luka brings. Like, there's teams out there that would probably trade their entire roster for Luka Doncic. Literally, like, if you're the Jazz, not that they would take it. Not that the Jazz roster is even as valuable as Luka, but that just shows how crazy his value is. Like, I don't care how fat he is. Like, he just made the finals while he was fat.
He's not even that fat either. Like, he's big, but like
I saw something that said like he's like 270 right now, but like
womp, dude. Oh my gosh.
All right, yeah, the best player in the NBA is pretty fat, like fat.
Yeah,
like they're NBA players at the end of the day. They can't really be actually fat.
And I want to add that I think Anthony Davis he's a top 10 player. So when people are like, that's all you get, like, Anthony Davis is a massive part of that trade. He's really, really good. But like, it just doesn't sit right with me that you are getting a single first round pick for Luka Doncic and Rudy Gobert's going for 5.
Yeah, and it's just like if Anthony Davis was 27, like it still wouldn't make sense. He's 31. Or wait, maybe he's 30. He's either 31 or 33. I think he's 31. Kyrie's the other one. And then another thing is, you have these old players, and you don't have it like any of your future first round picks. One's going to OKC, one's going to Charlotte, one's going somewhere else. Like, you get the Lakers pick in 2031, but like, as you can see, you just gave them one of the best players in the NBA that's probably going to still be there in 2031. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I think if I'm playing devil's advocate for the Mavs, and I got to reach here.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's look at the good side for the Mavs somehow.
Okay, so the good side for the Mavs is, I think this is going to sound crazy because Luka's really good, but your roster is now more balanced. I think you're stronger defensively, and I guess if you want to say like all our picks are going out in the future, like we need to. The Mavs GM said we're built to win now and in the future. F the future. You ain't built to win in the future.
You were built to win now in the future with a 25-year-old All-NBA superstar, actually.
I could hear the argument that you are slightly, if everything comes together with Anthony Davis, he's healthy, he's playing on an All-NBA level, you might have an equal, if not slightly better, more outcomes to win it all because the defense is that strong. But again, that argument goes out the window. He went to the finals last year with Luka. Yeah,
let's look at the starting lineup now. You got Kyrie as your ball handler. You maybe as your one.
PJ Washington going to the bench.
I guess you're going to start. You obviously are starting AD. AD wants to play next to a center, so you're starting Gafford. Are you starting Clay at the 2, moving PJ to the 3, and going extremely lengthy?
Big lineup.
Even then, I'm sorry. Even then, Kyrie's a below average defender, and Clay's not the defender he used to be.
No,
I don't think you suddenly have some insane defense. I think you just have a better defense.
The thing is, the Mavericks aren't going to win it this year. And so what is your justification?
But what if they did?
Well, if they did, then we will come on here.
Okay, I have a crazy argument. Crazy argument. If they win a championship this year and then are like solid for the next 5 years after, is it like did they win the trade?
Sure,
because you got a championship. But at the end of the day, like I don't know if you win the freaking trade when now you got Dirk Nowitzki who's pissed off on Twitter. Maybe not pissed off, but he posted an emoji like the big eyes emoji. You have your entire fan base very frustrated because
you know what this is. You know what this is.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
So
There's no comp. There's no comp.
I made this joke. Pretend that Scoot Henderson, like over the next 2 years, becomes a top 7 guard in the league, top 5 guard, and the Bucks call and say, "We'll give you Giannis for Scoot in a first." Maybe it's a little more than that because we're not trying to sell Anthony Davis short, but like the injury history, the age, it's really that they didn't want to pay Luka, which I don't get. But let's talk about this from the Lakers side. Okay, I'll ask you first. Do you think LeBron knew or not? Because he said he didn't. I'm going to say he didn't know.
No, I don't think he knew because I think that the fact that you're trading for Luka Doncic, you don't have to tell him. He's going to be happy. He's sitting here today saying we have a better chance of winning a championship now. And now he's probably in the GM room right now, putting on his lead GM cap and saying, let's work. Let's go get a center because if we get a good center, if you give me a Miles Turner, a Walker Kessler, even on the low end, a Robert Williams, boom, you've got a good team because again,
they got to keep
this quite possibly might be the greatest duo talent wise in all in NBA history.
Yeah, and people for saying LeBron is
maybe
40,
Shaq and Kobe.
He is 40. Well, they both duos played for the Lakers. Yeah. LeBron is 40. Just dropped a 33-point triple double in the Garden last night without AD. Yeah. The crazy thing to me is the Lakers had 2 first-round picks to make this team better, and they just got Luka Doncic, and they still have one of their first. And forget pick swaps. I guess pick swaps aren't a thing either. Like I don't understand it at all. And the weirdest thing is the Mavericks approached the Lakers. Luka didn't ask out. The Lakers didn't go inquire of Luka. They literally they that's what I'm saying.
Why? That's why they have to have the love for AD because why just approach the Lakers? Why?
Yes. Right.
If anything, you're approaching an Eastern Conference team so you don't have to deal with Luka for the next 10 years. Like the Blazers did with Dame.
Bro, like you could have gone to Boston and got like Jaylen Brown and stuff. Or you could have gotten like Jaylen Brown, Derek White and stuff.
I'm trying to think of how many teams wouldn't have traded for Luka? Like how many people do not trade for Luka? You probably at this point you don't trade.
Every single team trades.
No, I mean, like player wise, I think you're not trading him for Jokic. You're not trading him for Giannis. You're not trading him for Shea, and you're not trading him for Wemby. That's it. If you're the Warriors, you're trading Steph Curry. Like you are. Maybe not. Maybe not. But you're trading KD. You're trading. Well, you're trading Anthony Edwards. Ooh, well, maybe not. Yeah, you are. Now I've got my mind warped to think like, oh man, but like, do you trade him because Luka's fat? like BS, dude. Who cares?
It's from the Lakers side. Now you are, and I'm like you said, I'm curious where LeBron's head is at here. But this is. I know people are saying this is a signal that the Lakers are now. This is Luka's team. It's like, yes, it is going to be Luka's team long term, but you can in the next 1 to 3 years thread that needle of like. I think Luka also like. I think for the next 2 years, like. Luka's just going to be super happy to play with LeBron and vice versa. Like if LeBron was 37 and he wanted to stay for like 5 to 7 more years, then you have like time to like create that rift. And eventually like Luka and LeBron would be like, we're done. Kind of like Kyrie and LeBron. But I don't think there's enough time for them to not want to play with each other at some point. Like,
yeah, I think, I think you see this year, you see the Lakers, like they they make it to the Western Conference Finals or something and lose. Then LeBron comes back one more year. If they win a championship this year, then this is LeBron's last year. In my personal opinion, because I think you heard more often than not LeBron's talking about retirement, and I think LeBron would want to go out on top if he did get to the top again.
I get it's Anthony Davis, and he was never considered to be traded, so that part aside, but I've heard Miles Turner, I've heard Vucevic, I've heard Cam Johnson. Every single trade I've heard going to the Lakers, they're like, well, if you want a really good player, you got to include Austin Reeves. And they still have Austin Reeves, and they still have Dorian Finney-Smith. They still have Jared Vanderbilt. They still have They have Jackson Hayes. That's why they're not going to do anything. It's because they're starting Jackson Hayes. But they have a
they
round
get someone
trade.
get someone on the buyout market. Go sign someone that's just retired. Like
Cole. Now the Lakers, I think they were hesitant to like trade that 29 and 31 picks. They're like, we don't want to just burn this down like Phoenix once LeBron retires and be trash.
But now you have a guy you can build around. Yeah,
you have justification to now win. Now you can win now because LeBron. He's 40, but he's showing he is still one of the top 7 players in the NBA, top 10 players in the NBA, depending on where you have him in your list. But you also have Luka for the future. And now Luka's not Supermax eligible. I don't give a rip about the contract stuff. I don't want to talk about money. The fact that Dallas is like, we're not going to pay you is insane. The crazy thing is Dallas won a championship in 2011 with a star who wasn't that great on the defensive end. And he was a European.
Yeah, that's why it makes no sense too. It's because like the fans, like you have a European icon in Dirk who loves Luka, who played with Luka. You just made the finals when he's 25. Dirk didn't win a finals until late in his career. Like everything just makes no sense, and everything about Luka in Dallas made perfect sense. Like
I thought,
what is Kyrie feeling right now? Kyrie's finally at a point in his career after Cleveland where he's happy, and like, is Kyrie happy?
Okay,
I don't know.
I think again, we're so shocked that you could trade a top 4 player in the NBA.
Okay, can we stop real quick? I saw something. The only NBA equivalent to this is when Kareem got traded to the Lakers from the Bucks. I don't even know about that stuff, but like I don't know when Kareem got traded. Is there any in the say since 2000? Really, I was gonna say in our like sports watching fandom in any sport that matches this mid-season elite player traded like this. Like I was gonna say there's baseball probably, but like baseball doesn't make sense because there's no top 10 for top 10 in that.
No, and I would say like obviously Harden originally getting traded from OKC was like whoa. Harden to the Nets was whoa. But all these trades you had, well, I don't know about Harden from OKC, but like Durant to the Nets, Durant to the Suns, Harden to the like all those.
This
like,
was more shocking.
Writing on the wall. There's writing on the wall there. Like you were ready for it. This one
and going back to like.
Can I say something else quick?
What?
The craziest thing is, again, all this news is like, what do you believe and what do you not believe? Shams was like, this deal materialized in the shadows over the past few hours. Like, is this even a thing last week? Or the Mavs just were like,
I don't think it was.
Like it happened. So I don't understand.
Is Luka gonna get like arrested in Slovenia and like never gonna get to play in the NBA again? And the Mavs somehow know that. I'm not gonna lie. There's so many things on. Did Luka do something illegal in America? Then he's gonna go in jail for 4 years. Like,
is Adam Silver gonna veto this trade? Probably not.
Yeah, you veto Chris Paul to the Lakers because Chris Paul is Luka Doncic.
I thought that was Stern.
It was Stern, but it's just funny that like that can get vetoed. No, but seriously, when you think of baseball, you're obviously like Juan Soto got traded to the
football doesn't
Padres,
like trade
but like
season.
They get traded for young guys, and like I'm not even saying it has to be in the season. Like, has an NFL team ever traded someone that's a top 10 player to another team for a top 10 player? Like, I don't know. I don't think so.
The one I can think
I think the only thing in NBA history that matches this in terms of, it doesn't match it in terms of shock level is KD to the Warriors. Like,
that was a free agency.
That's the only thing that comes. But even then, like, it was in May. You knew it could be a possibility. You just didn't think it was going to happen. This
Harden
one
to
again.
The Nets was Harden to the Nets. But again, like Harden was Luka did not. Luka wasn't unhappy. Luka didn't say I'm not going to resign. Luka didn't say Luka's not going. Didn't go the Fox route where it's like, guys, look, I'm not going to resign. So
I think the only thing for me,
trade me.
The only thing for me personally that's ever matched like the sheer like shock, heart drop, heart in a pretzel, not like can't even spit is when Dame asked out, and that's literally just because we're Blazer fans.
I was going to say that, and when we traded Ed Davis at the deadline for the cash considerations.
Wow, that was big.
That was big.
Forgot about that.
Dude,
I think it's just funny how like. Let's talk about let's talk about the RCR show for a second. Episode 1, we talk about the Cavs breaking the Warriors record, and boom, now they have the same amount of losses since that show came out, and then they had before the show came out. Like they had 5 losses before and after. Episode 2, we did top 10 players. It's kind of impossible to mess up your top 10 players. It's quite physically impossible unless one of the players like retires. And then now we talk about the trade deadline, and the greatest trade in NBA history goes down right as we're about to publish the episode. But
it's insane, dude.
I don't get
Let's
it.
talk about some on the court just fits briefly, and then we'll move on to the long form, which we're going back and
which was recorded 2 nights ago.
Which was recorded 2 nights ago. I will be probably wearing a different shirt, but that's okay.
And Cody will be here for those of you that have an infatuation with Cody.
Yes. But on the court, how about just strictly on the court? Who I don't even say who won the trade. Just talk to me about the Lakers. Like, people are like, oh, they have no rim protection, they have no bigs, and they have 2 like cute ball centric, have to have the ball players. I think LeBron is very comfy playing off ball, especially in the regular season.
Yeah, I think this trade, when it comes to this year, you can make the argument that the Lakers might not have a better chance to win the championship, but I think they clearly do. You have a higher ceiling now. You might have a lower floor because, again, Luka, who knows if he's healthy this year. But this trade isn't about this year. Like, this trade is not only about this year, it's more so about just the future. Like, you were able to trade for a guy that you hopefully know can be on your team for 10 years plus, but he also is a better player right now. And then you also only had to use one of your picks. So then again, if you can use one of your other picks and any other contracts, like, I don't care. At this point, trade Austin Reeves, bro. Who cares? You technically don't need an Austin Reeves anymore because you have the guard. I know, like, that doesn't mean you should just trade him for nothing, but like, if you can flip something, like, I don't care, do a whole roster turnaround. It doesn't matter at this point. Your team, you're in a 2K rebuild at this point. You're doing whatever just makes your overalls higher. Like,
the 2K trade,
and
the 2K
and
trade.
Obviously team fit. Like, you have to go get a big. You have to, because if you don't get a big, and if Jackson Hayes is your starting big the rest of the year, you're not winning the championship, and you're not doing anything in the playoffs, because as soon as you go up against Jokic, Hartenstein, and Chet,
or Anthony
Davis, like, oh my gosh, imagine that happens and they play in the playoffs. That would be the most watched playoff series of all time, which I hope happens now.
The NBA works. It'll happen.
Yeah. So this trade for the Lakers, like, it's crazy because it opens up the opportunity. Like, you really have no fear now, I feel like, when it comes to what you could do, because at the end of the day, no matter what, you have Luka Doncic on your roster. You are a perennial playoff team for the next 10 years, assuming he stays healthy, assuming he's still on your team. So,
dude, the Mavs probably called the Lakers and were like, we want Anthony Davis. And the Lakers were like, yeah, no shot. And they're like, we'll give Luka.
We're not trading. Give us Luka, man. We're only doing. They were like, oh, let's talk about it. And the Lakers probably put the phone down and they were like, there's no freaking shot. They just said, let's talk about it.
They probably hit the mute button on the phone, just like freaking Draft
What else
Day,
do we need?
The movie, and then they were probably going crazy. Dude,
and they were like, and someone across the room was like, Max Kleba, let's throw him in there.
Oh yeah, hey, get that Morris guy. But
yeah, LeBron likes him.
Yeah, dude, they have the Lakers. Like, you get a big, call it Vucevic, Valanciunas, Miles Turner, Robert Williams.
I will gladly give you Robert Williams to help LeBron for the 5th title. I will gladly allow that to happen. I'll give you Jeremy Grant and Robert Williams. Give me a pick. Give me a second. I'm kidding. No, the Blazers are too good at this point to be worried about other teams.
Give me your 31 first for Jeremy Grant and Robert Williams. You can keep all your players. I guess for salary, give us Rui and Gabe Vincent. But like, on the court fit, it definitely is a little wonky for the Lakers side of things. But
I mean, you have 2 players that are like, I guess, talented enough to be able to play defense, but like, don't play defense.
Right. Forget the defense. Just on the offensive side of the ball, like, all right, you double Luka.
But the Mavericks GM says that the Mavericks GM says defense wins championships. We have to think about defense.
Dude, the Lakers are such a sleeping giant right now.
Dude, they jumped from plus 5,500 to plus 1,900. And obviously that probably comes from a lot of people just going in there quickly to bet them. But like, that's Vegas still moved them that much because they realize they are now top 5 in favorites.
What's crazy though? What's crazy though is like, is this is such a massive trade, but like, if I'm Anthony Davis, like, he might be like, dang, I don't get to play with LeBron anymore. But I think in his head, he's like, I got traded for Luka. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, they offered Luka. Like,
His ego's probably through the roof.
that makes
It's probably
sense.
like,
LeBron's like, that sucks. If I could play, that makes sense. And Luka's probably like, everything just falls on like Mavs front office. Like, what the hell are you doing? And you know what? Like we said, the Mavs could, if they won a championship this year, and then like had a couple good runs, and then like their Davis and is gone, and Kyrie retired, like, and Clay, and then all of a sudden you're like trash in 29 and 28. You still lose the trade, man. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah,
I don't think there's a
it's
world
crazy.
you win this trade. I'm not going to give that to you.
And a deep part of me is like, wouldn't it be sick if the Mavs somehow won the championship this year? But like, that's not going to happen. But it would be quite entertaining from a person that's a non-biased part of this trade. Final thing before we get into the long form. Do you think Adam Silver is happy about this right now? Do you think he's like, yes, ratings are booming now?
I think he's super happy because we were talking about the NBA at 1 a.m. on a Saturday night, and Luka Doncic, who was probably at least starting when LeBron and Steph retires, might be the face of the league. It's not Jokic, and I don't think Shea is as good as he is. I think it's Giannis and Luka. Like, the face of the league is in LA, and the Lakers, man, you can run your franchise into the ground, and LeBron in 2018 is like, I want to sign with you. Luka just falls in your lap. You get Kobe and Shaq. You get Magic. You get Kareem. You get Wilt. Like, it's just the rich get richer in this league of the NBA. And so, as you know, a Blazer fan, we're trash, and so I do root for LeBron in the playoffs because I would like to see him get number 5. I would like for him to be the GOAT because I want to have seen the GOAT live and with my own eyes. So I want him to get number 5. So I do kind of root for the Lakers in the playoffs just because they're always in it with LeBron. And so I will be rooting for them here, and I want to see how Luka and LeBron play together. And again, I think the underrated part of this is like, I just think Luka is now going to be playing with LeBron. And if the Mavs had any questions about his like professionalism, his diet, what it means to be a pro, conditioning, all those things, like Luka, if there's one person he's going to listen to about that stuff, it's LeBron. And we know how serious LeBron takes care of his body, what he eats, how he plays, because he's in year 20 freaking 2 or whatever. Year 20, whatever it is. He's 40, guys. He's 15 years younger than my dad. It's insane. So I think Luka, like, that's the underrated piece of this is like Luka is going to like. Is Luka in his prime yet? That's the last question.
Yeah. I'll say yeah.
I think he's in it. Yeah, I think he entered it last year.
I think last year was the start of it. I think maybe you see a slight peak, a higher peak, but I think we're pretty much in it. We've seen the best of Luka, but that is one of the best players in the NBA.
That's all my words. I'm done.
Yeah, so this was about as weird as you can get when it comes to the RCR show. We're following this up with a long form against the team, and we have a personal talk from 2 nights ago at the end of it. It's only like 2 minutes long, and in that we talk about how we're going to talk more in depth about the Blazers for those of you that are Blazer fans that watch this. So that will still be the case. We'll still drop a podcast here soon previewing the deadline, but now it's from a totally new perspective, which is crazy.
So let's get into the long form.
Let's get right into the long form. You're gonna change the clothes real quick. Long form coming up. Check it out.
Go to long form.
All right, we got a fun long form today. So can you name every NBA player active who has only made one All-Star appearance in their career? That includes the recent All-Star reserves that was just announced. 3 strikes, tough list.
This is hard. Okay. Andrew Wiggins is the Warrior. We all remember he was a starter, right?
Andrew Wiggins was a starter. That was when he got a bunch of votes from Korea, which LaMelo Ball was like number 1 vote this year, and he didn't make the All-Star game this year, which was crazy. But yeah, Logo is the team they are currently on, by the way, not who they may have made it with.
Did Fred VanVleet win one?
Fred VanVleet, I think, has made an All-Star team. Yes, I think he did. Like, I think he was like a reserve. Like,
it's not going to be Jalen. It's not going to be Brooks. Let's go. Yeah.
Fred VanVleet's made one in like 2022 as a replacement or something.
Okay, there's 2 Pelicans on this list. I think a great guess is DeJounte Murray. I feel like he made one. And obviously Zion's made more than one, and CJ hasn't made one. The question is, has BI made more than one? I'm iffy on that, but I like DeJounte Murray to only make one.
DeJounte, and prayers up to him. He just tore his Achilles like 30 minutes before we started recording, which stinks, but he has made only one All-Star appearance. That is correct.
Oh, wait, hold on. We said the other Rocket is going to be Sengun. He just got announced as his first All-Star appearance this year, so we'll take Sengun.
That is Sengun, and that could be a theme. There could be some guys that technically haven't played in it, but have been an All-Star.
Yes, we're going to keep going there. We're going to go Evan Mobley as the Cav. One of the Cavs, at least.
Evan Mobley is one of the Cavs.
Jalen Williams, All-Star this year, and Cade Cunningham as well, I think one-time All-Star.
Yes.
Yeah, Cade, first All-Star this year. Oh. He is on the list, and Jalen Williams is on the list, made an All-Star game. That's impressive.
Also, another lots of first-timers. Victor Wembanyama is the first of many this year. He is going to be the Spur.
That is correct. He is the Spur.
Has Paolo didn't make it this year, and he obviously is, gosh.
Did he make it last year? I don't know.
He was 2022. I don't think he made it as a rookie. I think it's Paolo, dude. I don't think it's Franz. I think it's Paolo. Give me Paolo.
Paolo's on the list. He's only made it one time. Didn't make it this year because he was hurt most of the year.
What about Markkanen? Did he make one?
Markkanen did make one. Love that. Okay. It's Markkanen.
Lauri Markkanen is the Jazz. That is correct.
Okay. The Nugget. This could be like a stupid Aaron Gordon All-Star appearance for some reason. Jamal Murray, I feel like, should have more than one in theory, but he's also never been like... He's literally never been a top 5 guard in the conference, so he must have snuck one.
It's not even anyone else. It can't be Aaron Gordon. No way.
It probably not. Let's go, Jamal Murray.
It's going to be strike number one. Wow. Stay away from the Denver guy. The Denver guy is tough.
I feel like the Raptors got to be Scotty Barnes. He's made it, I know. Unless RJ made one, but I just don't think he's been good enough to make one. So let's go Scotty Barnes.
That is Scotty Barnes. That is correct. Didn't make it this year. Made it last year, I want to say, maybe.
Oh, my gosh. We forgot Tyler Hero. Of course.
Yeah, Tyler Hero, first time this year. I'll go ahead and let you know, that was the last one of the first-timers this year.
Cody, I think the Celtic, you said Derek White.
All right.
I'm cool with that if you want to go with it.
I still like that.
That is going to be strike number 2. It is not Derek White.
So then who's the Celtic then? Drew's made more than one, right?
Has JB made 2? He has to have made 2.
Yes. It has to be Drew Holiday.
I think it has to be Drew. It has to be Big Al.
Zingas?
Oh, what pool, Cody.
It's
I think it's Zingas.
I think it is. Let's go Porzingis.
Yeah, Zingas.
Yeah, Porzingis has only made it once. I don't even know what team he was on. Probably one of the next years. Maybe a Wizards year.
Maybe a Mav year?
Maybe a Mav year. Wow, he's been on a lot of teams now that I think about it. It is Zingas. Again, this is a tough list. All these names obviously make sense because they've obviously only been one time, but this is tough.
Cody, don't think CJ hasn't made an All-Star team. We've talked about it. Zion has made more than one because he's just been hyped up a ton.
It's got to be BI.
It has to be BI, which is crazy. He's only made one All-Star game. It's BI.
It is BI. That is correct. That was one that I expect you to go back to. There's probably a couple more on here where if you just really just focus on the team, you'll realize there's only one that really makes sense, I feel like.
Okay, Cody, we need I feel like the Hornets got to be LaMelo. He's made one.
I was worried it's someone else, but now I think about it, everyone else is Buns, so it has to be LaMelo.
It's LaMelo.
It is LaMelo. I'm honestly feel like he probably should have made it twice by now, but he's not healthy a lot, and he didn't make it this year, which is crazy.
I think the Sixers got to be Maxey. He made one.
It is Maxey. That is correct. It's Kyle Lowry's, I think, made a lot of All-Stars now that I think about it. Paul George and Embiid, no. Maxey made one. Snub this year? Maybe.
I think the Cav is Jared Allen. I'm not even joking.
Not Garland?
D-Mitch multiple. No, Garland.
Garland must have. Garland made it twice, bro. Or maybe he hasn't had. No, Jared Allen did make an All-Star appearance. I remember it.
Yeah, Jared Allen did make an All-Star appearance. Garland made it this year, and I guess he made it a time before, even though I don't necessarily remember it. But you're looking at a Buck, a Nugget, a Net, a King, and a Timberwolf to end it off.
Okay. I think Chris is interesting.
It has to be Chris. It's
Damian are off the table. It's Brooke. Brooke, dude.
Multiple Brooke, though.
Multiple Brooke.
I don't know.
Interesting. I mean, he is a franchise leading scorer for the Nets. You would think he has multiple.
I think Chris made one. I really think he has.
All right. C mid. K mid.
Chris has made an All-Star game multiple times. It's not Chris Middleton.
See, that's right.
It was Brooke Lopez.
Brooke has made one All-Star game?
I think Chris has made like 3 or 4. I'm gonna be honest.
Wow.
Brooke's only made 1.
This dude
we'll go with the non-old guy first. Old guys. We're looking at a king. That is De'Aaron Fox. He's only made 1 All-Star game.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. He didn't make it this year. The Net is a guy who just got traded to the Net, but made an All-Star game as a Net in 2019. It's D'Lo.
Yeah.
I think if you were just able to really dig deep and think, you could have got that. The Timberwolf is a guy that made it as a replacement one year. He was a guy that never really made an All-Star game in Memphis.
Conley.
Conley. Or he made it at the end of Memphis. Or no, he made it with the Jazz.
That's another one that's interesting. Like Lowry has multiple, Conley doesn't. Like they're kind of on the same tier to me.
And then end of the bench is the Nugget. End of the bench. DeAndre Jordan made 1 All-Star game in his Clippers days. But this is a tough list the more I think about it, just because there's a lot of guys that you can convince yourself have only made 1, even if they made none or if they made 3. But that's the long form for the show. Let us know in the comments how you did. This was a tough list.
All right, now we're transitioning into a guess the team. Can you name this NBA team based off how many points per game they're averaging this season?
24. You know who averages 24?
Who?
Tyler Hero averages 24, but I don't think there's a 17 here at the small forward. Bam,
well, it could just be Jimmy. Like we could still be looking at Jimmy. Bam at 15. Maybe a Jovic. Maybe a Terry Rozier. Like Tyler Hero does average exactly around 24, so I don't hate that at all.
We'll go Heat first.
That is correct. This is the Miami Heat. That is Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, who could be on his way out momentarily. Jovic, Bam. Second team on the screen.
23-21. Cavs. Mobley at only 14.8 feels low, but everything else fits like a glove. Actually, I don't think Mitch is averaging 23.9.
That's high.
It's worth a guess, though.
It is.
Let's go Cavs. I'm not confident, though.
That is incorrect.
Harden Norm.
Wow, Harden Norm. Norm's averaging almost 24.
Kawhi,
That's it. It's
14.8.
I don't think Kawhi is going to be included in this. It's going to be the Clips, though. That's crazy that Norm's at 24.
That is correct. This is the Clips. Can you believe that? Norman Powell averaging the most
crazy.
on a team with Kawhi and Harden. Yeah, Kawhi's hurt, but whatever. That is correct. Let us know how you did in the comments.
All right, that's going to wrap for RCR Show episode 3. That was a fun long-form, fun talk, fun guess the team. We'll close it just personal. Like, we have, obviously, our Blazer podcast. If you want to hear more in-depth versions of that, you can go to that. Obviously, I know a lot of Blazer fans listen to this. But tell me, what do you want the Blazers to do, Cody? If you see Joe Cronin in front of you right now, what are you wanting this deadline? Are you wanting anything?
Not much. I mean, the Blazers, for our listeners that are Blazer fans, people who could be on the move, maybe Jeremy or Anthony Simons. I feel like Simons is too aggressive and something that just doesn't feel like would happen during a trade deadline time. Maybe more like during the summer. But I would say Jeremy. I would say people really like Robert Williams. So I would offer him for maybe some draft capital. Other than that, though, not too much. As a team that's kind of in the tanking era, there's not much you have to do. Just look for teams that really want small role players from us that can help you and get some draft capital from that.
Yeah, I think if I had it my way, Simons, Grant, and Robert Williams are all gone. I think the most likely, though, like you said, Cody, is going to be Robert Williams III, because he's just like a nice complementary piece for a contender. Like, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket at the trade deadline with this guy. Like Jeremy, also, I think Simons could, maybe Orlando, if Orlando's like, we're going to kind of take a swing this year and they need scoring. I need water in the desert. It's crazy how bad they are on offense. Exactly. And then Jeremy Grant, Joe Cronin, I feel like
plug and play.
Joe Cronin didn't handle that well. Like, I get you want to be stubborn and ask for 2 firsts, but his value is lower now. Yeah. So I feel like you could have struck while the iron was hotter. I think Grant is a Laker. Look for the Lakers. Look for the Bucks. I think a change of scenery would do Grant very good. I think he's actually a really good player. Obviously, I mean, he makes a lot of money. He's not like he's overpaid, but nothing crazy. Yeah. But yeah, it's more just minutes for the young dudes, man. I need Scoot and Shade to play 33 minutes a night.
And they looked good the other night. Going back to what you said there real quick. We're looking for a team that is desperate to go get Robert Williams. I think a Laker team could be like that. But we're going to get more in depth on that. We will have a Blazer podcast
Rockets,
dropping
too.
with the next couple of days before the
Udoka.
trade deadline, and then
Udoka
obviously
Williams
after the
connection.
trade deadline too. That is going to do it for episode 3 of the RCR Show. If you love hearing us talk and you felt like that wasn't long enough, well, we've got a podcast coming out in the next couple of days. That is Trailblazers Rip City Rundown. That's also on this channel of RCR. So make sure to subscribe for all that. Go follow our TikTok for our more short form content. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching episode 3. Peace.